Microphones are devices that convert sound waves into electrical signals. That's how we hear them on your radio, stereo, television, and even on your computer. This is also what you need to make your presentation sound a lot better. But before you grab this gear, join me in this video so that we can learn more about microphones and what is best for you. My name is Ed Bacani. I'm a gospel broadcaster, content creator, and a minister of the Church of Christ. And this is Gospel and Tech. Microphones may look alike, but do not be deceived. Not all microphones are the same. The kind of microphone you will be needing for your project will depend upon these two important questions. Number one, what do you intend to do? And number two, where are you going to record this? You see, there are microphones that works best when recording outdoors. There are also microphones for live streaming and recording a video such as this in a studio environment. There are also microphones that can capture clear, crisp vocal recordings and musical instruments. Whichever project that may be, an ample knowledge of how microphone works will help you find the right gear. Here are some basics regarding microphones and how it works. First, let us get acquainted with the microphone's polar patterns. What is a polar pattern? A polar pattern is simply the ability of your microphone to be able to capture sound waves. A polar pattern could either be directional, bidirectional, or omnidirectional. A microphone with a directional polar pattern is most sensitive to capture the sound waves coming from the 0 degrees axis, but rejects the sound waves coming from the 180 degrees axis. To make that very simple, this microphone is at its best to capture sound waves that are in front of it, but rejects the sound waves that are at the back of this microphone. A microphone with a directional polar pattern could either be a cardioid, a supercardioid, and a hypercardioid. All of these microphones are strong and very sensitive to capture sound waves coming from the 0 degree axis. They are best for broadcasting, live streaming, and even for live vocal performances. Here are some directional microphones that have the polar pattern of a cardioid. Starting off with the Shure SM7B. This is my dream microphone and probably the dream microphone of most broadcasters and content creators. Second to the Shure SM7B is the Electro Voice RE20. This is also very good in broadcasting and live streaming. Next will be the Rode Broadcaster, which I am currently using also. This is also great for broadcasting and live streaming. And of course, we have the Presonus PD70, the microphone that I am using right now. These are all cardioid microphones. They're called cardioids because the pattern shown here is like a shape of the heart. It's very sensitive in front, but rejects any sound that is coming from the 180 degrees axis or at the back of the microphone. Another type of microphone having the directional polar pattern are the supercardioids. Just like the cardioids, they work best to capture sound waves at the 0 degrees axis. However, the supercardioids can pick up a little of ambient noise coming from the 180 degrees axis at -5 dB. which means that this type of microphones can pick up unwanted sound at its back, but at a very tolerable level. The example of this microphone is the same microphone we're using in our ministry, and that is the Zoom ZDM1. One advantage of this microphone is that this costs lesser compared to the cardioids. The last of the directional microphones are the hypercardioid. In this diagram that I'm going to show you, you will notice that there's not much difference between a supercardioid and a hypercardioid. Their only difference is in their null points. Null points are areas on axis wherein a microphone could not pick up any sound at all. The example of a hypercardioid is the Audio-Technica 4053B. This microphone is a boom mic. If you're shooting a video and you don't want your microphone to be part of it, the best way to do it is to use a boom mic. A boom mic is a directional microphone that is suspended above the frame of your video so that it would not be seen. Now let's talk about bidirectional polar patterns. By the sound of its name alone, we can understand that these are microphones that are able to pick up sound waves coming from two opposite directions. They are most sensitive to pick up sounds coming from the 0-degree axis, and at the same time, they are sensitive to capture the sound coming from the 180 degrees axis. They are sometimes called the figure of 8 polar pattern. The best example for this polar pattern are the ribbon microphones. The ribbon microphones are excellent for recording vocals and musical instruments inside a studio setting. I finally made it to the last of the polar patterns, and these are the omnidirectionals. These are microphones that are able to pick up sound waves from all directions. And the best example for this one are the lavalier microphones, or sometimes called the clip mics or the lapel mics. They are very popular amongst newscasters. Now, we go to the fun part of our presentation today, and that is to test our microphones so we can appreciate what we have learned about polar patterns. Are you ready? Now, let's begin to test a microphone with a cardioid directional polar pattern. I have with me the Presonus PD70. This is a dynamic broadcast microphone with the same polar pattern, a cardioid directional polar pattern. What we want to achieve in this video is to be able to find out how this microphone at its best be able to capture sound waves in different points of distance. To help us understand what we're going to do today, I will bring up a diagram of a microphone that has a cardioid directional polar pattern. Since this is directional, I will be speaking from the 0-degree axis, and then will move my mouth to a distance closest to the diaphragm of this microphone. And then I will move further and further away so we can find out how this microphone is able to pick up sound waves in these different points of distance. I will also use my headset so I can hear myself as I do the microphone tests. I will recite John chapter 1 verse 1. Let us begin. First distance. John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Now I will move a little bit further. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. I will move a little bit more further. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And then, most definitely, I'm going to speak further away. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. What have you noticed, my friends? If you have something to say in your mind, you can post them on the comment section down below. Well, It is very obvious. As you speak to this microphone in a distance closest to the diaphragm, you will see that the sounds being produced becomes intense, brighter, crisp, and clear. On the other hand, when you speak further away from this microphone, the sounds being produced fades away together with the distance. That completely eliminates anything that is unwanted in your production. And that is why this microphone, a microphone with a cardioid directional polar pattern, is the microphone of choice for most content creators, broadcasters, and that includes your favorite DJ. Just think about how DJ works. You know, how their voices sound pretty good on radio. It's because they know their microphones and they know how to use them. This is my Angel Radio, your true friend. That's just a sample. Well, there is a downside to the cardioid directional polar pattern microphones. And what is that? This is pretty much expensive. The branded ones, just like the Shure SM7B and the Electro Voice RE20, would cost more than $400. The broadcaster coming from Rode, this one, cost about more than $300. The Presonus PD70 is lesser than that. This costs more than $100. So if you're thinking of doing a podcast or a live stream or recording a video for your church, well, I recommend this. You don't have to spend too much to have the same quality of sound just like what you're hearing today. So that concludes our video on polar patterns. For my final recommendations for live stream, broadcasts, podcasts, remember always to use a microphone that has the cardioid directional polar pattern, such as this microphone. When you're recording a song with a musical instrument like a guitar or a piano, a ribbon microphone will work best with that scenario. For sure, it's going to capture your vocals together with the musical instrument that you are using. When you are recording a choir, find a microphone that has an omnidirectional polar pattern. Certainly, it's going to capture every voice in that choir. When you're doing outdoor videos such as travel vlogs or action videos, a microphone such as the Rode Wireless Go. This is a clip mic that has an omnidirectional polar pattern. This may come in handy for you. There are so many microphones in the market, and whatever project that you have in your mind, remember that there is always a microphone that suits best for that project. I sincerely hope in my heart that this video is able to help you. My name is Ed Bacani for Gospel and Tech. Remember to put a smile on your face because God loves you and so do I. I will see you on my next video.